up YouTube? So I've been in this country without a car for about a year, and honestly sis is kind of struggling. And after spending about $500 in Ubers and Lyfts, I decided it's probably time for me to start driving myself. And although I can drive here on my British license for a year, there is one small problem. You see, to drive my own car here I need American insurance, and to get American insurance I need an American license, which I don't have. But what I do have is a story for you. In order to get a full Oklahoma license over the age of 18, you need to do two things: a written test and a driving test. Well, actually you also need to do a vision test, but that's literally just looking at something and then reading it, and I failed that. I had to wear glasses, but still irrelevant. Also, you get the license in two parts. You get the permit and then you get your full license. So to get the permit, you just have to take the written test. So I asked my lovely friend Paige if she'd be willing to take me to the DMV on voting day, where we had no classes, to get my written test done. And she said, yeah, I'll take you around 3 p.m. It was then that my friend Izzy pointed out that it'd be impossible to get an appointment for almost anything at the DMV after 12 p.m. and if I wanted to get my test done, I should leave earlier and he'd be willing to take me. Now, after hearing that, I asked him how early would I have to leave in order to get an appointment, and he told me 5 a.m. So, but either way, being the great friend that he is, he volunteered to take me to the DMV at 5 a.m. and wait in the line with me until I got my test done. Also, because there was a small chance that I'd be able to take my driven test the same day if I passed my written test, Izzy volunteered to take me driving around downtown and taught me how to parallel park in 3 hours on Monday night, the night before my test. So get you a friend like Izzy. And Paige, I'm gonna fall over. Anyways, I woke up at 4 a.m. to get ready because I had to get my photo taken for my license, and I only got 2 hours of sleep because we played Among Us in real life the night before my test, which probably wasn't the smartest thing for me to do. But by 5 a.m. me and Izzy were in the car headed to the DMV in Tulsa Eastgate. Now I know what you're thinking: if you get there at 5 a.m., 2 hours before the DMV actually opens on a day that everybody is out voting or at work, you're not gonna have to wait in line. Wrong. Wrong. I counted, there were 27 people in front of us. So after getting there at around 5:30, we had to wait until 7 until the place opened, and then wait in line for another hour and 20 minutes just for my ticket to be called. Now eventually they called my number and I got to go into the little thing where they have the desk, and I told the lady what was going on. Because firstly, DMV doesn't highlight anything that you need to get your driver's license on the website. Secondly, if you're an international student, good luck, because you won't have any of the documentation. And thirdly, I don't have a thirdly. But anyway, I got to the desk and I told the lady, look, I'm trying to get an Oklahoma driving license, what do you need from me? She goes, what's your social security number? I go, I don't have one. So because I wasn't born in the US and I don't work here, I don't have a social security number, which is basically what you need to open a bank account, get a driver's license, or do anything in this country. And she goes, okay, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. You know what? Do you have your visa, your passport, and your I-94 form? I handed her my student visa, I handed her my passport. Guess what I didn't have? Now normally I'm pretty good at getting myself out of these sort of situations. I can talk my way out of it, I can find my way out of it. There was no way this lady was gonna let me apply without this form. Now the lady explains to me that it's alright, that this happens all the time. I can just go online, get my form, print it out, and then rejoin the line and just get back in the queue. At this point it's 10 p.m. and the line is 4 times as long as when I joined it. Izzy is asleep in the waiting room waiting for me. Didn't want to wake him up, he was having the time of his life. I did not want to tell him that we'd be here until the end of the day. So I'm talking to this woman, and at this point, this is the first cry of the day. At this point there are tears in my eyes, and I'm explaining to her, look, listen, I didn't drive myself here, my friend took me here, is there anything you can do? There was a printer behind her that she explained to me she couldn't use because they have a policy, and that I would have to go to a library outside of the complex to try and print this form. Meaning I'd have to wake Izzy up, which I didn't want to do because I don't want to stress him out. But she also tells me that she understands that I'm very stressed, and she says that if I can get my form that day, I can just rejoin the line at the front and just go after the person that she is seeing whenever I return. So at that point I'm like, okay, you know what, I'll take the win. I'm gonna find a printer. I'm not gonna wake up Izzy, I'm just gonna find a printer. So the way that this DMV was structured was, it was in like a mall, but like a mall of mostly offices and like a few like shopping places, like not a lot. And so for the next hour and a half, I go around to each of these places asking if I can print my form. Now, you might think that that is embarrassing enough, you know, just knocking on doors, asking people, hey, can I come in to print a form? I'll buy anything in your store, I'll like do whatever. It gets worse. Because of COVID, each store was only allowing their employees through the front doors, and each of these doors was a glass pane. But they also had a sign saying, employees only, call this number for assistance. Every single door had the same sign with a different phone number. So for an hour and a half, I wasn't just going around, going inside and asking people if I can use their printer. I was calling the number on the front of the door and crying to whoever was working inside through the glass as they rejected my need for their printer. So this just keeps happening over and over and over again until eventually I'm like, you know what, it's unlikely, but I'm gonna check if the cafe has a printer. There was a little cafe in the corner, and there was a nice lady working. I was like, look, I will buy anything in this entire store if I can use your printer for 2 minutes. Sweetest lady ever. I won't try to do her accent, but it was so warm and loving, and she was like, look, sugar, you can come and use our printer. I was like, thank goodness. At this point I was crying, so I'm guessing that had something to do with her letting me use it, but she goes, come around the back, come like around the little thing, and you can use the printer in the back. So I'm there, happy. This is finally gonna work out for me. This is gonna be great. The printer was broken. The printer was broken. I love that. So this lady, honestly, God bless her soul. She went over and above in every single way. The next customer that comes up to the desk, I'm crying. At this point, I'm not even trying to hold back tears. At this point, I'm just crying. But the next person to come up to the desk was the security guard. Now, I called security and I asked them if I could print like through the little glass thing that I was explaining before, and they said, no, we're not allowed to do that. I was like, okay, cool. So she tells the security guard that she needs to print out something for her workplace and their printer's not working. She gets his email address, writes it down, hands it to me on the sly. I enter it into my computer, send my file to that email address underneath the title form, and she's like, okay, go with him, tell him you're with me, and just tell him to print it. This guy, thank goodness he did not look at the form, because he printed it for me without realizing that I asked him before to print something. So finally I had the form I needed. This was about an hour and a half later, had the form I needed, ran back downstairs, said thank you to this lady who literally made my entire day work out in the end, and I get back to the desk. Now when I got back to the main desk, the lady that I was seeing was obviously seeing somebody else. She told me that I'd have to wait until she finished with whoever she was with, and then she'd see me after. Now the guy that she was currently seeing had none of his documentation and was trying to convince her to give him a license. This went on for about 45 minutes until she told the person next to her, hey, can you see that lady? I was like, okay, you know what? I am being favored by God right now. I can't even complain. So I go back to the desk. Now at this point, I need to stress. I've had 2 cups of coffee when I woke up, and then I took 2 cups in my, where is it? I have this big flask that I took 2 full cups of coffee in with me because I knew that I got no sleep. So I drank them both at this point because I was stressing out and the only thing to do was drink coffee. So needless to say, at this point I needed the toilet. I didn't take a break because I didn't want to lose a second and waste a minute. So I was just standing there with my legs crossed as she was filling out my documentation. And then she asked me for my address. Now for those of you that don't know, I live in a dorm room, which isn't an address. I have a PO box, and the place I live and the place where my mail goes are 2 separate things. So we spent about half an hour trying to figure that out as well, all while I needed to pee. But you know what, eventually we got it all done. Like, she figured it all out. She goes, okay, look, listen, you're gonna go to desk number 10 and you were gonna take your written test on the computer. Now I studied for 50 questions. I thought it was gonna be 50, but it was 20, and I only actually needed to get 15 of them right. So I could get 5 wrong, 75%, I still pass. I'm like, easy. I studied for this, I worked hard for this, but at this point I was a little bit frazzled, needed to pee, and I was speeding through the thing. So question 1 goes by, get it right. Question 2 goes by, I get it right. Tell me how I get question 3, 4, 5, and 6 all wrong consecutively. At this point, I have to answer 9 questions correctly, or I fail, and this whole nightmare was for nothing. Now, the universe must have been playing me because I got the rest of them right, but I was freaking out the entire time. I was stressing, I was hyperventilating, I was seconds away from a panic attack at the DMV. And I was also crying, still crying. But you know what? I got the questions done, I got them right, and I passed my permit test. I'd show you my permit, but it hasn't come in the mail yet, and I'd show you my paper one, but it has too much of my information on it. So, just take my word for it. Do I have a full Oklahoma license? Not yet. I still need to take my driven test, but I definitely thought that this was a story that you'd want to hear. I have nothing else to upload, so I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, horror stories about the DMV, for any international person wondering, are true. It is actually hell on earth. When I left, the line was going up like it went out of the DMV, up the escalator of the complex. So get there early or don't bother going at all. Anyways guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, still give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys the next time I upload. You're probably wondering where I got this awesome beanie. As I said in my last video, it's a YVA beanie. I recently became a brand ambassador for them. They make amazing t-shirts, amazing beanies, amazing hoodies, so check them out. You can subscribe to my channel up here, you can watch my last video down there, and let me know if you have any questions about any other weird American things that I've had to do. I'd love to make a video answering them or trying them, so let me know. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, still give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys the next time I upload. Stay safe, drive safe, don't go to the DMV.